Well, hello there, everybody. My name is Ash Andrews, and I'm the Executive Director of the Pittsburgh Center for Creative Reuse. And today I'm going to show you how to make a DIY desk sand garden. Get ready! So we're going to want to gather up some tools. Don't need that many things for desk sand gardens because they're pretty simple. But you are going to want some scissors. You're probably going to want some white school glue, maybe. Also, like, a glue stick would be good, sure, if you have it. And if you happen to have some tape running around somewhere, grab it because we're going to use some tape as well. So 4 tools, all fun. Let's do it. Alright, so after you've gathered your tools, you can organize all the materials in your kit. You can put similar items together in piles, like I'm doing here, or you can make your workspace as organized or as messy as you like. It's really up to you and your work style. Look through your materials and identify which ones catch your eye, which ones you would definitely like to use. Set those ones aside so you remember to use them. Now take a moment to visualize what kind of sand garden you would like to make. Would you like to create a scene of somewhere you already know, or someplace that's from your imagination? How about a scene from your favorite movie or book? The fun thing about sand gardens is that everything is movable, so you can constantly remake your garden as time goes on. Alright, now we're gonna make the base for your sand garden. So find the lid in your kit. It might be made of cardboard or plastic or like an aluminum tin, something else that can hold sand. This will be the base for your entire garden project. So consider adding decorative elements to that base. If it's very plain or it has logos on it, something you don't like, perhaps you'd like to cover it with some fancy paper or fabric. Use glue or tape to secure the covering to the base. And don't forget the sides. You can use ribbon as a great wraparound decorative element around the sides. So here I've decided to use some really cool textured gray paper, and I'm going to figure out how to place that inside of my lid, and I figured out that I actually don't have to use any glue or tape. It just sort of sets in there, and once I put the creases into the corners, it stayed perfectly. I know I'm going to be putting sand in it later, and that will hold it down too, so I'm just going to go with it. Now around the sides, I've decided to put this really nice kind of pale ribbon to just spruce up the edges. I think it looks great. So once you've got your base covered, you can add sand to it. Make sure to leave some space at the top so the sand doesn't overflow when you move it around. You'll also be adding some additional elements to this garden, so make sure there's enough room for them. You can keep some extra sand handy so you can refill it if you ever need to. Now it's time to make some fun elements that can live in your garden. Remember, you get to choose what kind of garden this is, and the elements that you add can help illustrate your vision. Your garden could be a place of relaxation and calm, a bustling beachfront property, or even a special garden in a far-off galaxy. This is your garden. You get to figure it out. Now first, I'm going to make a wooden structure. So you can use small pieces of craft wood or popsicle sticks or any thin wood that you can cut with scissors to make any sort of wooden structure you want, like a bench or a chair or a shed, a bridge. How about a table? So use scissors to just cut that thin wood into the shapes that you'd like. Use glue to secure the parts together. So you could use like a school glue, or you could use a wood glue, any type of glue that you have on hand that's pretty strong. You gotta make sure though to hold those pieces together for at least 15 seconds so it dries with a strong bond. Now here you might see that I'm not holding it long enough, so the legs of my little chair are falling off every so often. I was anxious to get it done, and so it didn't work as well. Gotta make sure to really hold those pieces together so that they dry. So I'm gonna set my piece off to the side so it can dry on its own. Hopefully that does the trick. Next I'm gonna make a potted plant. So maybe your garden is full of plants. Maybe it's only got one sitting in the corner. It's up to you. So you want to dig a small hole into a cork with the end of your scissors or a chopstick or a pencil or a pen, anything that's long and pointy. If you are using scissors, make sure to be careful. Don't let that blade come anywhere close to your hand or your body. Make sure when you're using scissors in a non-traditional fashion that you have them pointed away from your body. Be very careful here. You can then place the bottom stem of those fake leaves or flowers into that hole that you created in the cork. Use a little glue if it needs extra securing to stay in place. Maybe it doesn't though. I put a little extra on mine just to make sure that it stayed securely. So try out several different types of leaves coming out the same cork if you want to, or just use one. You can also decorate your cork to look like a little plant pot. So I used that same ribbon that I used for the lid around the Zen Garden, just so that there'd be a repeated element, but you can use anything. So you can use ribbon, other materials, just glue them, tie them, tape them to the cork around the edge of the cork to give that kind of extra illusion. You could also paint it if you wanted. Also, try using the white bottle brush to make a tree in the same way. You can trim the bristles of the brush to create any shape you'd like. You can also paint the bristles to give your tree some color. Now, how about all these rocks and shells we've got? You can place rocks around your garden in a natural kind of way, or you could use them to build small structures, pathways, or even fire pits. How many rocks can you stack on top of each other? Looks like I figured out how to stack 3. Way to go, me. I even used glue in between each little rock because I wanted to make sure to keep that little sculpture all together. I didn't want it to fall apart in the future. You don't have to do that, but I did because I felt like it, because it's my garden. It's your garden, you do what you want with it. How about adding some animals into your garden? You can use some of the animals that are included in your kit, or you can craft your very own creatures from other materials. You're in control here, so you can make imaginary creatures, humans, or your favorite animals to live in your garden. Now, how about some water? A little water element for this garden. You can use some of the shiny blue paper in your kit to create a small pond or a stream that winds its way through your garden. Just use scissors to cut out the shape of your water feature and set the water in the sand. There's no gluing or taping necessary, but you could do that if you wanted it to be permanent. One of the fun things about these sand gardens, though, is that everything can be impermanent, and you can move things around even after you feel like you're done with the project, so that it becomes an ever-evolving creative project for you. Now, hey, why don't we make a rake? So with a rake, we can use the tines of the rake to drag beautiful patterns through the sand. It'll be really cool, just trust me. So you can use the plastic fork that's in your kit and decorate it to look like a rake by wrapping that handle in twine or other materials. I'm using some yarn and some white school glue. I'm just putting a bit of glue on the end so that the fibers of the yarn kind of stay down and don't unravel. Alright, so now you've got your very own sand garden to play with. Use that rake to pull patterns through the sand or move your homemade elements around. Since nothing is glued down, you can continually move your elements, remove some, and add other ones. Your garden can change and grow every day. Pittsburgh Center for Creative Reuse is a nonprofit that inspires creativity, conservation, and community engagement through reuse. For more information on who we are and what we're up to, visit pccr.org. Thanks so much for following along with this tutorial on how to make a desk garden, and I hope that you continue being creative. Happy crafting!